Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to be explaining a war on the nation server that happened 2 days ago. This war was the war for the Arrivera Peninsula, one of the most important and strategic areas in the continent of Alterion. This book, or this story, was written by me and in the Avalonian perspective, which you can see the Empire of Avalon on the left side of the screen, owning the Gay Islands, Island of Lipson, and the floating island of Avalon. And it used to be this little area, but after the Arrivera Wars, it was fallen into the Republic of Cornelia. Today I will explain, not in detail, because the detail is very graphic, because I killed many people in that war. Oh my god. But I'm just going to be saying some details about what happened. Let's get into it. This book was written in, the 11th of December. That's, when the war happened. And it lasted 2 hours, 2 solid hours, which is 10 Minecraft days. Okay. I don't have corona. Just cut that out, please. Anyway, as the sun sets today on the 11th of December, 2021, I have surrendered a war to the leader of the Republic of Cornelia, losing land and immediately being blamed for the Arriverian massacre, and paying a huge sum of money to the leader of Cornelia, Dreadcool 4385. I am Muhammad 6634, the leader of the Empire of Avalon, that has ruled since the beginning of the server. Being the most powerful nation, Avalon has had fights with natives and other countries in the past, but nothing compares to this conflict in Avalonian history. Avalon has never lost a war, but this is a first, and it will be the last. On the dawn of December 11th, 2021, I woke up to my Discord page full of text and missed calls from Dreadcool 4385. One that grabbed my attention was "Get on Nations right now." And so, I followed orders and hopped on. Dread then came into my Discord call and started to yell at me. I calmed him down and asked him what happened. He took a deep breath and told me everything. Someone killed Sir Cornea, which was the Cornelians' worshipped dog. I immediately sprang up. "Who killed Cornea?" I asked. But he answered that I did. I started to defend myself, but no matter what I said, I couldn't clear my name. And so, because of these heinous crimes, Avalon and Cornelia severed diplomatic ties and broke their alliance. I was shocked. I couldn't believe I lost a valuable ally over a dog. I stayed and thought, until a notification came to me by one of my citizens that was protecting Avalon's part of the Arrivera Peninsula. It was Tokyo Drift, and he'd sent me an urgent message. He said that the Avalon's part of the island was being invaded by Cornelia. I had had enough. I packed my stuff and left for the Arrivera Peninsula, for the name and honor of the Avalonian Empire. Chapter 2. As I waited on the dock, awaiting my ferry to the Sportus colonies, I planned on how I'm going to take the peninsula. Another message came up from Tokyo. "I have escaped," he said. I gave a huge sigh of relief. But then I noticed something. When I was waiting for the ferry, I saw no boat enter nor leave. All boats were out on patrol or on a fishing endeavor. I was confused at first, but thought nothing of it. But once I boarded the boat to the Arrivera Peninsula, I had this overwhelming feeling of anxiety. I felt that something will happen. As the ship was in the middle of its voyage, we saw another boat coming towards us. I thought that they were Avalonians coming home after a day of fishing, but I was wrong. As we got closer, a shot was fired, not from us, but from the unknown ship. At that time I knew it was the Cornelians. The ship immediately went hard to starboard, and the captain pulled out his gun and fired at the bow of the Cornelian attacker. Fire raged through, killing the captain of the ship and forcing the crew to retreat. Our ship sustained minor damages, but was able to float. I was in shock, The Cornelians were our brothers, and brothers don't betray each other. I returned back to the Avalonian mainland to get to ready for war. I got my enchanted armor and tools, and told Tokyo to meet at the Capitol building. We devised a plan. Well, we actually devised 3 plans, and we chose the second plan. I then started to prepare, getting diamond armor and enchanting them, getting a ton of arrows, and readying my troops, which are my dogs, for war. 5 p.m., December 11th, 2021. I got all my troops and got on a boat. It was the middle of the night, so the water was cold. A reconnaissance ship for the Cornelian Navy was sent out to the Avalonian mainland. I'm sorry, not the mainland, the strait, and returned to the Arriveriva Peninsula. I saw a ship that belonged to Cornelia approaching, and so I fired upon them. This ship was a ferry, and when that shot hit, it sunk the ship and leaving their survivors in the cold, icy waters. I then made my way to the designated landing zone. I got on my boat, but then realized that my dogs were back on Avalonia. Well, too late to go turn back now. I threw an ender pearl up the mountain and made my way. The plan was to make my way to a fort situated on the top of the mountain. As I approached, a set of fireworks got lit up from the tower, and so in a panic, I threw an ender pearl up to the tower where I found a Cornelian defender, whom I killed. As I looked around, I saw a small town on the doorstep of a mountain, and there I saw an unhappy Cornelian army moving up. I got readied. I loaded my crossbow and got my TNT ready, and watched as the army marched up the mountain. I've studied history, and I knew that being on the mountain, I had the best area, and with my knockback 2 sword, I watched as the Cornelians died from fall damage, and I was watching them fall off the mountain and into the ocean. The Cornelians attacked 4 times, all ending in painful death, but after every hit, I was draining my resources, and after the 4th hit, I had no food and low armor durability. I knew that if the Cornelians attacked one more time, I would surely die, and this did happen. The Cornelians wanted their beloved tower back, and so they attacked for the 5th time. I kept them out for a while, but I couldn't last long. I accidentally slipped and fell into the heart of the town below, and I was killed off by Dreadful 4385. This war would be harder than I thought. This war that I was so confident that we were going to win had turned into a humiliating struggle. Avalon was losing a war they had to win, and so, for my country's honor, I attacked the tower one last time. I took my boat and my dogs to the same landing site, but this time a small resistance force met me. I defeated them and climbed up the mountain, and got up to the unprotected tower? No, that's impossible. This had to be an ambush. I climbed the tower and looked around to see a huge Cornelian force waiting. I fired a shot, and my dogs, and so as the Cornelian dogs, attacked. After a bloody massacre, me and Dread stood face to face. It was my chance to take the city. I jumped down and placed every single TNT block I had. Once the last block had been placed, Dread, being shocked, said, "You wouldn't dare." I smiled, and while igniting the TNT, I ender pearled back to the tower. I watched as Dread's city and himself fell under my control. I jumped down to the remaining blocks of the town and watched as the sun rose, and I got ready for the final blow to the Republic of Cornelia. But it seemed that the Cornelians were sick of war too, and they wanted peace. But being any good dictator that I am, I said no. The war would simply go on. The Cornelians managed to do one more offensive that did sustainable damage, but was successfully repelled. I, with my gear, after 10 days of fighting, finally pushed into the capital of Cornelia. The Cornelians defended fiercely and threw everything at me, but it was futile. I marched on and exploded their Capitol building to dust. and burnt down the rest of the city. Suddenly, a huge explosion goes off, destroying half of the Cornelian landscape and bringing me down to 4 hearts. I immediately started running, and the Cornelians gave chase, trapping me and finishing me off. I knew that if I didn't surrender, Cornelia would definitely win. I would be executed or exiled. And so, on the 11th of December 2021, at 11:22 p.m., Avalon surrendered, bringing an end to the Arriveria Wars and bringing peace to the continent of Altarion for at least 1 week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next video will be out about the border war between Cornelia, Avalon, and one other country. Don't worry, this one I did not lose. Goodbye.